So let's start. Today's topic is for um, whenever we are reading any kind of a CSV file, let's say, or Excel file. We have different approaches for the text file. Also we can use the with open, or like we can use the pandas library directly, like pd.read csv or pd.read excel, like that. But in some cases, um, we at the runtime we need the data and we need to pass it as a file. Okay, so in that case, what we require is we require to pass the data to uh, you know um, to make it look like a file, but actually it is not a file. It's a uh, data that is stored in the memory location, so that can be used as a file to read, just like in pandas pd.read csv cases. So let's say if I do this something like this. Okay, so um, let's say I am importing pandas. Okay, what we need, these pandas library, we need StringIO library. Okay, so StringIO is also needed here. Okay, so let us start it. So if I take the data is equals to, let's say, column 1 comma column 2. Okay, and in the next line if I took like this 1 comma a, the second line 2 comma b, the third line 3 comma c. So it is very similar to file cases, like if you say, if I open the notepad here. Okay, no, okay, so it is very similar to like this. So yeah, obviously it is mimicking, and showing like it is like a file type, file like an object, but currently we have this to be stored in the data variable, so we cannot use directly as a file here. So what if in some cases, or some use case, some new cases, if you need this data to look like a file and in runtime you need to use, then how you can use? So for that purpose we need to use this StringIO library here, which is very useful. So let's take an example. If I take a buffer variable and if I mention this like string IO here, no, what I'm doing is I am calling the StringIO class, or we can say the library, and I'm creating a buffer, StringIO buffer here, by specifying this data variable inside parenthesis. And the second step would be like let's say I want to read this data by using pandas library. Then how can you read? Because we have already created this buffer variable by using the StringIO class. Then what we need is, let's say, like a data frame variable I will take, and if I do something like pd dot read csv method, if I use of pandas. So previously we used to put address here, right? But in this case you can directly pass this buffer variable that we have created earlier, okay, by using the StringIO class. So in this way you can directly read the runtime data into the reads, any kind of pandas read method. And if we print this data, okay, so it will directly print that. So you can see, like, if I run this, okay, so it might take some time, but let us see. Okay, so it is saying something like the StringIO, no model name is been found. So I believe like there might be some spelling mistake or something like that. No. Then why it is not reading. Okay, so let me instead of doing this, let me try this. Like, so from IO import StringIO. So I believe like this will work now, because from IO we need to import this class. Okay, so now it's working, right? So the tabular like a structure we got from this particular data. So in this way we can directly read the runtime data by using this read methods, and for this we need buffer, and for creating buffer we have used the StringIO method, which is inside this IO class. So the next question would be like, if I print, so here okay, so here on the screen if you see, if I print, let's say, the buffer. Okay, let me do this thing here so that you can better understand. Okay, what if I print directly here, let's say buffer. So what do you think, what will be the output? So it is saying like IO string object at this particular location. So my basic question to you guys, how you can see whatever the data stored inside this particular address. Okay, so for this purpose what we need is the one library that is offered by pandas. So it's a ctypes library that we can use. So how we directly do this is because we need to print, let's say like whenever we are using id of particular let's say buffer, we will get the address, location address. So let's say if I print this id of buffer, let's say, and if I run this, let's see what it will give us. So we got this because if we do this, okay, let's print this, okay, id of this particular address. So yeah, obviously this is going to give us the location where it has been saved. Okay, so in this case it is different, but one thing is fixed here, that is, this is the address location of the buffer. From this address location of buffer we are reading this whole data. So my question to you guys is like, how you can achieve something like can you directly read that address and print whatever inside this particular buffer? We know inside this buffer we have this data, but what in some cases if we need to test whether that data is similar or not? So for that purpose we use the ctypes library. And how you can do that is like but the condition here is buffer has been initialized, right? And after initialization we have used it in read csv method of pandas. So once we use that buffer, we need to reset it. Why? Because after reading the csv, reset is required to point, because in some cases what happens is like the buffer pointer may be at the end of the string. So in such cases you might need to reset it back to the beginning. Okay, so if let us try without resetting. Okay, so we will try without resetting, but before, if suppose I need to reset it, so if I use the buffer.seek and if I reset it by specifying 0 inside it, then if I use something like your encoded data is equals to, let's say, this variable will read buffer.read, let's say, and then if I encode to UTF-8, okay, and then if I do something like ctype string variable if I take, and inside that if I create the string of C types, like C types dot create string buffer. This is the method of C types class. So inside this I think we need to pass this encoded data. Okay, so once we pass this encoded data into the this create string buffer method of C types class, then if let's say I need to print uh, this is the encoded data, right? String encoded data. So to decode that, if I print something like this, okay, what we need to print is, let's say, variable 3. So what is the variable 3? Variable 3 would be let's say C types string C type string dot inside that I think we need to call the value dot decode, and then we need to specify UTF minus 8 here. So what happens here is it will take the strings value and decode it to this particular format. So encoded format will be converted decoded, and we can print this variable 3. So let's see what it will print. So if you can see here, this is the actual data that we have read from pd.readcsv. This is the actual data variable, and this is the data which has been stored at this particular address. Okay, so in this way you can directly read this data at this particular buffer, because we haven't used this any read method here. We just read the buffer and we print it. So what if I haven't reset the buffer? So let's see that point also. So what happens after this? It will print nothing because it is maybe at the end of the string, like at the C position. So after C we don't get any data, that is null, and same has been printed here. Okay, so in this way the C types library can be useful to see the data which is present at the particular address. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you for watching my video.